Hi, this is Denise LaRosa, and you're listening to Mom Talk with Denise LaRosa, where moms get together to share our joys and challenges while also providing listeners with some invaluable resources and information on parenting. I am so excited to be debuting my show today. I have 3 exciting things for you. First, I'm inviting all of you to enter my back-to-school photo contest. Please send your photos of your children on their first day of school to denise@denisenlarosa.com to be entered in the contest. The deadline to enter is Friday, September 12th. Next, you can be an active participant of the show by emailing me topics that are of interest to you and other moms, as well as suggestions for guests to appear on the show. Again, the email address is denise@denisenlarosa.com. And last but not least, I am beyond excited about our guest for today's show. Leigh Ann Hrutkay obtained a bachelor's degree in early childhood education in 2004 and a master's degree in developmental psychology at the University of Pittsburgh in 2011. Leigh has worked as a professional nanny and as a therapist for children with developmental disabilities. Leigh currently designs and presents in-services to schools in order to assist teachers in becoming more confident in accommodating children with developmental disabilities in their classrooms. She has also enjoyed opportunities to volunteer as a Sunday school teacher and in the Child Life Department at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, a fabulous facility, I might add. Most importantly, Leigh is a mother. In all of her experience, the most valuable lesson Leigh has learned is that there is nothing more important than to make a difference in the life of a child. I had an amazing opportunity to meet up with Leigh at a local Starbucks. It was a beautiful summer day and a perfect day to have a candid mom talk. Take a listen. I'm here at Starbucks, and I absolutely love this place, and I love you, so I can't think of a better place to be right now.
I know, neither could I.
So, tell me first and foremost about your son. You have an adorable son. Tell us about him.
Thank you, Denise. He is spectacular. He just turned 3, end of June, and he's just very intelligent, cautious, curious. He's already so focused on God and Jesus. He loves to memorize scripture. He can already recite 5 Bible verses on his own, and he just makes every day so much more exciting than it would be without him.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. And you just have this glow about you when you speak about him, and I know a lot of mothers could relate to that. You know, they just are treasures. You know, they're just really, truly angels on earth, I like to call our children.
I call him my treasure. I named him Xander. It starts with an X, and I say X marks the spot, and he's my treasure.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. So one thing about Mom Talk Radio is that I really want to really expose mothers to we come in many shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and experiences. Yes. And your experiences, you are a single mother right now.
I am.
So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that experience, how you're doing on that journey.
At first, it was extremely challenging because not only are you thinking, am I making the right decision for myself, but ultimately, is this the best decision for my son? And how is me being a single mother going to shape his life and his perspective of the world, and how is he going to impact others? So it was very challenging. I had to do a lot of soul searching in the beginning. I had to re-identify myself. I was no longer a married woman and, you know, a normal family. Now you hear these terms, broken home and single mom, and you have to think of in terms of your finances just get cut in half. And it was very difficult, but at the same time, you just look at that child and he's looking up to you for guidance and love and care, and you just know it's going to be okay, because it has to be. You're going to do the best you can for that little life that you brought into the world. And, you know, I truly believe everything happens for a reason. Every person brought onto this planet was predestined by God, and he has a purpose for them. And I just kept thinking, you know, God would not allow this to happen to me or my son if he couldn't use it to shape him into the person he needs him to be. I would say that was my biggest challenge, just coming to terms with the fact that I was a single mom and worrying about what it was going to do to my son And I realized it's not going to do anything to him.
Exactly.
53% of American households are divorced. Millions of children are growing up in the same exact environment as he is. Luckily, his father is still very involved, very hands-on, sees him several times a week, has him almost every weekend. So I have a lot of support there, and we're on good speaking terms where we can co-parent him in a very mature way. And I also have the loving support of both of my parents. And during this time, they've just been amazing. Wow. They've been such a support system. Xander and I are living with them. We've been there since he was 7 months old. And to have that love and support and that environment for him every day has just been such a blessing in my life.
That's amazing. I'm a product of a quote-unquote broken home myself, and I can just attest to everything that you just said. I think back, I feel like I have a better relationship with my father because my parents divorced,
Really?
That's
and I know
so
encouraging to hear.
Yeah, I know that seems kind of awkward, and it's not knocking him at all, but I think, I would have felt the tension or, a lot of confusion.
Was my fear, the tension and the anxiety in the home.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel was good for him.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, I feel like because I didn't have that experience with him, that everything was positive, just like what you're going through, and your son is so blessed. I was blessed also that my dad was very active and involved, still is, and so, I saw him just as much almost as my mom, and it was good, I mean, of course, we're not here, advocating divorce,
right?
But life happens. And what we're saying is, God wouldn't bring you to it if he wasn't going to take you through it.
Right.
You'll come through just fine.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's very encouraging to hear.
Oh, you got it. So tell us about your educational background and your career prior to this amazing book, which we're going to get to.
Okay. Let's see. My career, ever since I was a small child myself, I always just had a passion for kids that were younger than I was. And I knew someday I was going to grow up and just do something big and great with kids, but I didn't quite know what that was. So I took the child development class in high school, which led to going to LaRosa College to study and get a bachelor's in early childhood education. I got to be a live-in nanny for several different families, which was amazing. But as I got older, I knew that I wanted to do even more. And again, I still wasn't sure what that was, but I felt like education would probably get me there. Once I started looking into different types of things I could do with kids, I learned about the child life department at children's hospitals. And they deal with the socio-emotional aspect of the child and the psychological impact of hospitalization on the child. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I know that's what I'm going to do. It was a very competitive program to get into at Pitt. But miraculously and with prayer and God's will, I feel like he landed me in this program. I did very well in it. I loved it. And after 2 years of education, I began to intern at Children's Hospital. And again, they said it's impossible for Pitt students to get into Children's Hospital. They like to take them from Akron in Ohio, and you're going to have to go to a different hospital. Well, with God's grace and his planning, for some reason, he landed me in Children's Hospital at Pittsburgh, where I got to complete an internship. But a month into it, I was married at the time, and surprise, I found out I was pregnant. I was ecstatic. I was so excited. I had not been planning to have a child. At that point in my marriage, I thought everything was fine. The problems had not been revealed to me yet. So what happened was I knew my career was going to be on the back burner. I knew I was going to finish strong. I started working for a community psychiatric center. I did some work for them in the past with kids with autism, but they launched me up to the level of behavioral specialist consultant once I got my degree. And I did that for about a year, but really felt God's calling that I needed to step back and focus on home and my son and the things that were present in my life. And there's a time to give, and then there's a time where you need to take a break and nurture yourself. And I felt very strongly that there was that calling in my life to just stop.
Wow, that's incredible. And I can so relate because I was a teacher, and, not saying anything negative about my students, they were my heart. I always said I
Yes.
had hundreds of kids, you know, before I had my own biologically. And so I just got to a point, however, that I realized I was spending more time caring for, nurturing, and rearing other people's children and not enough time with my own.
Yes.
And so it was just an eye-opening moment for me. And in the natural, it's like, well, you're making this money, it's a steady income. However, I realized I was losing out on things that money can't buy.
Right. You can't get that time back, and they grow so fast.
Yes.
And you think, I've raised other people's kids, by darn, I'm
Yes.
going to raise my own child and be there
Exactly.
for them. Yes.
Yes, yes. So that's just amazing to hear, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of mamas have those same feelings inside, and working mothers, and you know, I just want to continue to encourage them as well. It's not like we're telling everybody quit your job, you know, and stay at home, because everyone has their own path and their own journey.
Right.
As long as you're in the moment with your children, I think that's what's important, whenever those moments are.
Mm-hmm. And during my education, we learned a lot about, you know, quality versus quantity of time. And there's so much truth to that. If you're fully present when you're with your child and you're loving and you're engaging and everything like that, they do just as well. Sometimes even better. I've seen kids more well-adjusted whose parents work 60 hours at the hospital a week than kids whose parents are home with them all day, every day. It just depends on the quality of time and the bond you build when you have that time.
That's incredible. Wow, that's so true. And hearing it from an expert just solidifies that. So
Yes.
that's great. So, okay, so tell me about Rise and Shine Little Child, this wonderful book that you've written. It's incredible, and I want to share it with everyone. And also, you have a wonderful piece to it that's giving back, Operation Warm. So tell us how you came to write this book, Rise and Shine Little Child.
Yes. Okay. Well, one evening, it was mid-October, and my son, who was 16 months at the time, was sound asleep in his crib. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and I just went in to check at him. And whenever I checked on him, I just watched him sleeping for a few minutes and just prayed and just thanked God for the blessing that he was in my life and how grateful I was to have this miracle. And it's like, when I looked at him, I just thought, I can't believe that I'm lucky enough and that God blesses so many different people with this blessing of a child to care for. And I pulled the covers up around him, and I went over to his window and I looked outside. It was mid-October. I was so angry, and a snowflake fell from the sky. And I watched it, and it was the first snowflake. And I didn't want to wake him to show him, but I thought, well, maybe there'll be some snow on the ground in the morning. So I went into my room, and I closed my door, and I was going to read, as I always do before I go to bed. I do my daily devotions, and I do a little bit of reading. But instead, I just kept thinking of that snowflake. And I thought, my child is like that snowflake. There's just no two snowflakes that are ever the same, or that ever will be the same. And my child is just like that snowflake. And in that moment, I just wanted to share with him, like, the magic of wintertime and of snow. And I just got out my notebook, and it was literally as if the story wrote itself.
Wow.
And it starts out, Rise and shine, little child, let's go. It's a brand new day, and it's about to snow.
Wow.
And then I just kept thinking about what it would be like to experience all of his first wintertime experiences with him. He'd never been on a sled before. He hadn't had a chance to play in the snow yet before, and I couldn't wait to share all that with him.
Wow.
And then I thought back to my own memories as a child and being freezing cold, and my mother bringing me in and getting me hot cocoa and a bowl of soup and wrapping me in a warm towel and giving me a warm bath. And I thought of all the warm, fuzzy feelings and the love that also goes with the wintertime experience of playing outside. And I wanted to share that with my son, but also with every little child. And the story, it did. It just came out. And that night, actually, I decided, without telling anyone, that I was going to submit it to a publishing company. And I found the publishing company online. They accepted online submissions. I went ahead and submitted it. I wrote the story behind why I wrote it and a little bit about my background. And within 3 weeks, they contacted me back, and they said, it's such a heart warmer. We want to do it. And
Great.
I was just ecstatic. And in that moment, that's when I felt the calling that this book was going to do big things. And I wanted it to stretch one step further. And I wanted it to give back. And I had heard of Operation Warm several years before, because here in Pittsburgh we have a similar one. It's it's Project Bundle Up.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I knew of Project Bundle Up, but I knew that there was another organization that they didn't just serve Pittsburgh kids. They served all of the U.S., Canada, other places in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's Operation Warm. And they're based out of Philadelphia. So I contacted them and I said, I wrote this cute little wintertime book. The child will be wearing a coat on the front of it. And I just think that I would love to partner with you guys and have you benefit from some of the proceeds of this book. I think it would be a perfect match for the theme of the story. And they said, we love that idea. Yes, here's our logo. Let's start promoting your book. And it just expanded from there.
That's amazing. That's so amazing that so often people have goals of, doing things like becoming an author and having their work published. But you took it, like you said, one step further and found a giving back component to it that is really heartwarming, no pun intended. And it's, something that's really close to my heart as well, because there's so many children that don't have warm clothes and they're outside in the cold. They don't have heating in their homes. They may not even have homes. And
right.
That's a serious issue that we face all around the world. And so for you to expand this out to not just America, but all around the world, it's just amazing. And you've actually done a lot of traveling, right?
I have. I've got to do some traveling, not because of the book, but wherever I travel, I love to share my book with the little children in those communities. I got to do a book reading for a very small, impoverished schoolhouse in Jamaica. And that was phenomenal because those children have never seen snow. They've never needed to wear a winter coat.
Right.
But they've heard of snow. And we got to do a lot of comparing and contrasting the types of activities you can do during the summer and in the winter. And we learned, throughout the story, you can play outside during summer or winter. And, you can share the love of your family during summer and winter. You're not going to eat hot soup in the middle of summer. And they told me the foods they like to eat to cool them off. And we compared and we contrasted. But I told them that each one of them is as unique as a snowflake. And they each got to make their own paper snowflake. And at the very end, one little boy came up to me and he said, nobody ever told me that there was nobody else like me. And he hugged me. And it just brought tears to my eyes. And at the end, I had them hold up their snowflakes, and we took a picture, and we could see how each one of their little snowflakes was completely different and unique.
Oh, my goodness.
It was just an amazing experience.
That truly, truly is. It's just something that is so profound, how you can start with a personal experience and expand and touch so many lives.
Yes.
And you've even won a Mom's Choice Award for this book. So it's an award-winning book.
It is. Now it is officially an award-winning book.
Yeah, it's official. This book is amazing. We knew it already, but now you got the stamp of approval. Literally on the front of the book, on the cover, is the Mom's Choice Award emblem. So it's really neat.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just so excited for you. And you have also taken another path with this from this experience, and you have a website called Think Written.
I do, yes. A good friend of mine, her name is Shell, she is truly a visionary and the most creative and inspiring person I have ever met on the face of the earth. She's amazing. And she and I got our heads together, and she is very internet savvy, web savvy, and she's also a really excellent writer, too. And I'm learning a lot about the publishing industry, marketing books, a lot about how you want to write for different genres. So we got our heads together and we said, okay, well, let's do a website. Let's take what we know and share it with others. It just launched August 1st. It is called Think Written, and it's a site where anybody that likes to write can go, and they're going to find a supportive community there. and it will take you from the first sentence you write on your page all the way through editing, publishing, marketing your book. Or if you just like to write for leisure, that's okay too, and we support those writers and love to have them on our site as well. And we're just there to share, and honestly just to share and care with each other.
That is wonderful, because so many writers, you're really vulnerable when you are a writer.
Because you're putting yourself out there. You're afraid of rejection. It's painful.
Yes.
And you need the support.
Exactly. I mean, to think that you guys are providing that support for writers is just so touching, and it's so necessary on this journey. I'm a writer myself, and I am actually joining Think Written. I actually have already signed up, so I'm so excited to be a part of that community. It really, that old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise and nurture writers.
It does. It honestly does. It really does.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Leigh?
We are going to do more Little Child books. We're going to come out with a Little Child series. A second one was just accepted. It's called Merry Christmas, Little Child. Make a Wish, Little Child is in the process of being written. There's probably going to be 6 books in this series. So it's a lot of book promotion, and on the side, Think Written. There's new articles up there every week, and just raising my son.
That's wonderful. And so I will end this interview by asking you a question that I know you will give an authentic answer for. What advice do you have for mothers? What is one piece of advice if you could give mothers, whether they're single moms, married moms, what advice would you give?
Oh, geez. I would just say, just love your child. Just love your child. That little miracle was created just for you to enjoy and to raise and to challenge you and to raise you too. And I would say just love them. And with enough love, a child can do anything.
Yes, yes, yes. I can say that as a daughter.
Yes.
It sounds so simple, and nowadays we are, in this world of, how-tos, and, we want to read, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you're saying just love your children.
Yep. Yes.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. You don't need a manual to tell you that. You know that in your heart.
Yes. Well, Leigh, I can't thank you enough. Again, the book is Rise and Shine, Little Child, and proceeds go to Operation Warm. And I just look forward to more of these books. They're going to be amazing, just as, if not even more amazing than the first. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time out to join me on my new journey.
Well, and to thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show, and for the amazing work and the inspirational work that you're doing for all the mothers out there. I want to gift a copy of my book to you, and I will sign it to your daughters.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me, and I know they're going to be blessed by this. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to stay in touch with me by visiting www.DeniseLaRosa.com. Follow me on Twitter at DeniseLaRosa, on Facebook, and or email me at denise@DeniseLaRosa.com. You have been listening to Mom Talk with Denise LaRosa. I will leave you with this mom quote by Kate Douglas Wiggin. Most of all the other beautiful things in life come by 2s and 3s, by dozens and hundreds. Plenty of roses, stars, sunsets, rainbows, brothers and sisters, aunts and cousins, but only one mother in the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to see more, please do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel or check out some more videos.